Now we'll take you through the latest on other notable players, and we'll start with Paul George Harris, who has opted out of his deal, or at least informed OKC that he will do so, which wasn't a surprise. But now it becomes, does he go to OKC, does he go to Lakers, or a surprise team like maybe the Sixers, for example?
It needs to be pointed out how much money Paul George is leaving on the table by going to the Lakers instead of the Thunder. Now,
if that's what he chooses to do.
Very true. Now, I am always in the boat of, kind of what Dave Chappelle you said when he quit. The only difference between $10 million and $50 million is $40 million. The lifestyle is so different. The total amount of money that you end up making is just, at the end of the day, it's obviously a lot of money that you're leaving on the table, but what is really the difference between having $120 million and $150 million?
Another really, really nice guy.
What do you do with all that money? So if you're Paul George, you can make so much more money just staying with the Thunder, but you can still make a ton of money going to the Lakers. And I will say this about the Thunder. Look at that cap. $36 million. I can't believe that they traded for Carmelo Anthony.
It kind of made sense at the time, though.
Did it?
I thought it made sense, yeah.
Did it?
And then Melo, in the second half of the year, regressed to Melo. He was fine in the first half. First half of the year, that trade looked fine.
We all wanted to believe that, in reality, that Carmelo Anthony wasn't bad all season long. Melo was terrible all season long. I still think Paul George is going to end up going to the Lakers, but look, we'll show you the contract that he can make with the Thunder. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, it's almost $40 million every single year for the last 2 years. I mean, you love the pay increase between 2019 and 2020. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
If we're talking about total money, about actual how much money that Paul George can make by taking this deal overall, I have it right in front of me. $175.74 million is the total guaranteed money that he could get from the Thunder. Mind you, also in a low income tax state.
Yeah.
Low income tax state.
Not California.
So he can make a lot of money. Now, if you're looking at what he can make with the Lakers, it's a lot less money in terms of just overall guaranteed money as well as after taxes. I mean, it's $130 million total, over $45 million less up front plus taxes.
Plus taxes. On the flip side for Paul, you're going home, and you do get a bigger market for endorsements and all that type of stuff as well, which I don't know if it truly eclipses the $45 million difference there, but it is enough to make it worth mentioning.
Also, if you're George and you're signing the deal with the Lakers, you're signing a 4-year deal versus a 5-year deal. So if Paul George gets out of that Lakers contract, he's 32 years old and in line for another deal. The Thunder, he's 33 going into his age 34 season. Maybe he doesn't get as much money. Got lots to think about for Paul George.
All right, so there's the update on Paul George. He has opted out. Here is a story we will track closely for really, I think, the next day and a half. DeAndre Jordan to the Dallas Mavericks. If we're doing the rumor scale here, I think it's at least 3 heads. It sounds very much like the Clippers and Mavs are on the verge here of agreeing to a Jordan trade. And at long last, DeAndre Jordan goes back to the Mavs. No more Mark Cuban being beside himself, driving around downtown Dallas, begging through texts for Jordan's family for DeAndre's home.
I cannot believe that we are talking about a DeAndre Jordan to the Dallas Mavericks trade after everything that went down back in 2015. The emojis will bring, if you forgot about the emojis, I don't know how you could have forgotten about them. Chandler Parsons tweeting out planes, JJ Redick's tweeting out cars, Mike Woodson's tweeting a swimmer, and then the infamous Paul Pierce PNG of a rocket ship.
I want to make one note here.
Why?
The players on that list, none of them are with their current team anymore.
They're all gone anymore. They're all gone.
Parsons is no longer with the
Mavs.
He's in
still
Memphis.
With them is Doc Rivers, who got his GM job stripped away from him since then.
And is now the coach. So we'll get to the potential trade details here involving DeAndre Jordan, but it's not going to actually be a lot, Harris, because the alternative is DeAndre opts out and the Clippers get nothing.
So if you're wondering how much cash,
excuse me,
how much cash the Mavericks could physically get or give away to the Clippers. It's the trade kicker. It's the 15% trade kicker that comes in if they do end up trading DeAndre Jordan. So the contract that he's currently being paid is $24.1 million. You add about a 15% increase to that, comes out to a little bit, around $27 million. So with DeAndre Jordan and this trade, they have to move Wesley Matthews because they have to get him off the books, but there's not really much that the Clippers can ask.
And I'll also mention that the Clippers do get a $7 million trade exemption here, so
yes.
that is worth mentioning. That is valuable, and that's better than getting nothing for DeAndre Jordan in the end. And frankly, Harris, you look at this Mavs roster and this lineup in the bench.
I love this.
This is a good team.
It's a very good team.
This is, I think, in the Western, it's going to be a borderline playoff team because it's so deep, but in the East, this is like a 4 seed.
Haha, maybe not kidding, but
and 23.9 in cap space. Maybe you go get a Jabari Parker and Dirk becomes your 6th man.
Maybe you get Jabari Parker. Maybe you get a Derek Favors. Maybe you make a run for Clint Capela. Shrug. Maybe throw a contract out.
I don't think you want DeAndre and Clint on the same roster.
Look,
I think you want a 4.
You are very much overrating Clint Capela.
No, I'm not underrating Capela. I'm underrating the fit of 2 guys that play the exact same role: blocking, shot blocking, rebounding, and dunks.
If you're the Mavs and you can somehow find a way to get Clint Capela also, I actually very much disagree with you. I still think you somehow find a way to do it. It's just a lot of these teams in the Western Conference, you're stealing away a really good player. He's super young. He's getting better every season. I'd throw him $20 million a year, regardless of who I have at center right now. He's a fantastic player. I still think the Suns are going to make a run after him.
We'll get to Capela
despite
later.
Ayton, but look, with DeAndre Jordan and the Mavs, this is incredible. This is so funny to me. I can't believe
3 years later.
And I love how also the reports that we're getting is that Mark Cuban has led the charge of, forgiving DeAndre Jordan.
Things are okay now.
Has he even apologized? Did he apologize to the Mavericks?
Yeah, time heals all wounds.
Does he owe them an apology?
I want to quickly get to a comment here from Matthew, and Harris, you're going to love this one. It says Jonathan Motley will be better than Jordan, and he's younger by 14 years and $30 million cheaper.
Jonathan Motley?
Jonathan Motley.
Like the high schooler?
The Baylor kid.
Oh, but
6'10". Motley, by the way, is 23 years old. DeAndre Jordan, by the way, is 29. So I don't know how that adds up to 14, and he's also not better. But that's beside the point. Anyway, moving on here to some more big men talk about DeMarcus Cousins. Boogie and his market is a big question mark because he's coming off the Achilles injury.
I cannot see anyone giving him a 4-year maximum contract right now. You can't do it, but it's fine. I mean, look, if you're DeMarcus Cousins, you're 27 years old, you're coming off a great season, regardless of the injury. He had a really good year last year, 25 points per game, 13 rebounds. He was an all-star. He was a great player. Probably would have ended up making an all-NBA team. But with that Achilles injury, I mean, can you really give a max contract to a big man coming off that? Maybe
it's
you
a
give
fair
him
question.
A 1-year max? I don't think that's a terrible idea. Maybe if you're the Pelicans, maybe the Wizards trying to make a move and a sign and trade on a 1-year max, but I cannot see anyone giving him an extraordinary amount of money right now. I mean, how can you?
Here's my question for Boogie is, where does he end up, Harris?
I
have my theory, which we'll get to in a minute.
There are 3 options for me about where DeMarcus Cousins
one good option.
Number 1, I still think it's the most likely place, is he ends up still with the Pelicans. Okay. I think that's definitely the most likely option. There are 2 options
that make sense.
Number 2 would be the Los Angeles Lakers just because they have enough money. He's from LA and he's interested in them. Number 3 would be the Wizards.
There we go. It's the Washington Wizards. Reunite Boogie and John Wall.
Reunite Boogie and John Wall.
They traded away Gortat.
They did trade away Gortat. They have a little bit of space. You can't trade away Ian Mahinmi. It's impossible.
I mean, you don't want to start him.
No,
you trade somebody else to get Boogie.
They can maybe try to get Boogie in a sign and trade, but it's going to be really difficult. I mean, you're going to have to give the Pelicans. I mean, the sign and trades that I've been seeing have always involved Otto Porter, and I don't think they're going to give him up.
But Boogie and John Wall, which is great.
I'm not an Otto Porter fan. I know all Wizards fans hate me because I talk trash about their team all the time, but I'm not an Otto Porter guy. I'm not at all.
Let's move down to our next big man here. That is Clint Capela. Harris, I will allow you to go on your pro Capela spiel about how he's a great player. The Nets, though, are one team interested in him.
There are multiple young teams right now that should be offering him a max offer sheet. Unquestionably. The Nets should do it without blinking. The Suns should do it without blinking. I would have said the Magic before they signed Mo Bamba, or they drafted Mo Bamba, but that's now off the board. The Rockets, they have to wait to see what's going to happen with him. I mean, they're not going to offer him an in-house max contract. They don't have to. They can just match an offer sheet and have him on a lesser cap hit. But look, for Clint Capela, one of my favorite players in all of basketball, one of the best defensive players in the NBA last year. He was a fantastic player for the Rockets. Their entire defensive game plan was use our wings to funnel people down low, and now you have to get a shot up over a 6'11", 23-year-old who can block everything that you put in.
Again, I like a lot of what Capela does, but I don't think you can pair him with another center. That's my issue, because he offers nothing in terms of spacing. Neither does a guy like DeAndre Jordan. Neither does maybe a Mo Bamba. If you want to go
I personally think that Clint Capela is a much more versatile player than people give him credit for. He's still so young. He's coming off the best season of his career. He has a long way to go on the offensive side of the ball.
But he doesn't even take three-pointers.
He doesn't have to. I mean, I don't think he needs to because he's such a good force down low. Look, if you're going to make a move for Clint Capela, and you already have someone down low, you're kind of playing for the future in a lot of ways. You're kind of playing for an era of basketball that might be coming up within the next 2 or 3 years now, where so much of it is based around, rim protection and making sure that you're stopping the other team's guards. But if you're the Nets, you're in no place.
The Nets should sign everybody.
Exactly. You're in no place to be like, hey, we have Jared Allen. We're not going to sign
I like Jared Allen a lot.
Like, just Clint Capela, some people are saying that he's not a max player. It doesn't matter if he's a max player or not. He's going to get the max. Otto Porter was not a max player and still got
I actually kind of agree with the YouTube commenters. I don't know if he's a true max guy.
He's not,
I think he's more of a number 3 on a really good team.
Some young player or some young team is going to give him the max specifically to kind of screw over the Rockets.
Okay.
Because, again, the Nets did that already. I keep bringing up Otto Porter. I'm sorry.
Same thing.
The Nets did exactly that with Otto Porter and the Wizards, and it screwed them over ever since. They're going to do it again with another player. Might be Aaron Gordon, might be Clint Capela, might be both. Who knows? I love what the Nets are doing. Sean Marks is dominating right now. They're doing great.
We'll stick here with the Rockets. Chris Paul, their relationship is fine between CP3 and Houston. That really shouldn't be much of a surprise, Harris. It's only a matter of time before the Rockets agree to a very large extension with Chris Paul. But I'll bring this up and we'll get to the year-by-year breakdown. You're going to pay Chris Paul a lot of money to be in his late 30s. And I know that it's Chris Paul and it's worth it for right now, but when you look at it 2 years from now, 3 years, 4 years, whatever, you might have a really bad contract for a player who even right now can't stay healthy. It's Chris Paul. I do it, but at least give yourself the pause and think about it.
If you're the Rockets, though, and you win a title within the next 2 years, is it worth paying Chris Paul $47 million at 37 years old? If you win one title, does it pay for itself?
Yes. The title alone, yes.
This is now, if you're looking at this and be like, Harris, why is this so much different? Why is this so much more than the Paul George contract? Well, Chris Paul has been playing in the NBA now for over 10 years. He has the 10-plus year max contract extension, which means that if he signs his 5-year deal and he goes to the max, $205 million total guaranteed to Chris Paul in a state which, as we know and love here in Texas,
no income tax.
No state income tax.
It's a lot of money right there.
It's beautiful.
Even though,
beautiful.
Look, it's Chris Paul, it's worth it, but if you give him a 5-year deal, man, that's a lot of money, and you had better take down the Golden State Warriors at some point during that time frame, because otherwise you might end up regretting it. I guess if you're the owner.
I gotta say one more thing about this Celtics, Kawhi, Lakers thing. There's obviously a chance, because we're getting some YouTube comments, there's obviously a chance that the Celtics are going to try to make a legitimate deal for Kawhi Leonard. But I think at this point, it's much more likely that they're just trying to drive up the price for the Lakers. If they wanted Kawhi, they would have had him already. Danny Ainge is playing this very smart.
All right, folks, if it's your first time watching the show, hit us up with that subscribe. Go to youtube.com/ShatSportsTV. It'll take you right into the subscribe button. Subscribe to have all the NBA content you need going forward. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.